Good day, everyone, especially to our instructor, Ma'am Anna. I am Eduardo Jr. A. Macajelos, a second year social studies student. Today, I will be presenting our topic for ED204, Foundation of Special and Inclusive Education, Unit 4, which focuses on inclusive pedagogy, assessment management, and instructional accommodation. Specifically, my report will discuss assessment for inclusive education with emphasis on the types of assessment and techniques. So, let's begin. Altogether, let's read the quote from Miss Linda Suskie. Assessment is not about judging, but about understanding and improving learning. So, based on the quotation from Linda Suskie, what is your personal understanding or point of view about assessment? Please feel free to share your insights in the comment section below. So, the big question is, what is assessment? Assessment is the process of collecting information about child's strength and needs. So teachers and administrators can make instructional decisions about or based on the assessment results. We have to note that assessment is an ongoing process. It is an ongoing process, not a one-time event. It is systematic and focuses on the collection of educationally relevant information. School performance is a major concern, and teachers and other professionals evaluate learners' progress in all pertinent areas of the school curriculum. So this means that assessment is also purposeful assessment. So it is very important. The purpose of assessment. The results of an assessment help in designing programs for a child identified as having additional needs. So assessment has a purpose. So everyone, we must note that it is used to determine a child's educational placement, plan instruction, and evaluate teaching programs and services. Its purpose is to assess how effective these programs are in supporting both inclusive and special education. So, we have three types of assessment. So, are you familiar with the three types of assessment? No? So, let's tackle about the three types of assessment. So, the three types of assessment are first, observation checklist. Second is anecdotal report. And the third one is portfolio assessment. So, let's tackle more about these types of assessment. So, the first type of assessment is the observation checklist. So, try to observe the picture that I have shown above. That is an example of observation checklist. An observation checklist is a systematic tool used by teachers to observe, record, and assess a child's behavior, skills, or performance in real classroom situations. So as you can see in the definition, it is used by teachers to observe, record, and assess a child's behavior. So in the context of inclusive education, it is particularly useful for assessing children with additional needs, as it helps the teacher monitor progress, participation, and social or academic skills in a structured way. Teachers can teachers can quickly record information about how his or her student perform with respect to specific outcomes from the study program using observation checklist. Students' performance is in relation to particular criteria can be monitored. No? It can be monitored using an observation checklist, which are often provided in a yes or no format. Yes, no format. So, purpose in inclusive education: identifying needs, monitoring progress, planning intervention, and evaluating effectiveness. Identifying needs, so we can identify if that certain or specific students needs mm, what specific what specific part of her or his learning needs to be supported or to be enhanced. Monitoring progress, we can identify if they excel or they learn from this or they have a growth learning. So planning intervention, so we can identify or probably implement interventions or programs that may help the students on that level that he or she is having a hard time or might face it or that they consider a little bit challenging. And also evaluating effectiveness. We can identify if that certain program or activity is effective. No? So if we see that they learn, they have a good scores in different assessment, then we can identify that they really learned something or they really learn a lot from it. So as a teacher, it is also a teacher factor that we need to also do our best to ensure that they really learn something. We need to provide not just any education but quality education. So let's say for example that I've become a teacher in one of school here in Chatham. Let's say for example in Chatham National High School. So I can use observation checklists to monitor the progress of my student. For example, one of my students has a mild learning disability affecting her reading and writing skills. So I need to identify key skills to observe, such as following instructions, participating in group discussions, reading aloud accurately, and completing written tasks independently. I identify key skills to observe, such as following instruction, participating in group discussions, reading aloud accurately, and completing written tasks independently. During class activities over several years or weeks, let's say for years, it's too long. So for several weeks, so I recorded such rarely or where I already recorded each skill as yes or no, always, sometimes, or rarely, and I will add brief notes like needed one prompt to complete the task after reviewing the checklist. Then I will so after reviewing the checklist, I will identify patterns. For example, if that student participates more in group activities but struggles with reading aloud, then I may use this information to plan targeted support, such as pairing her with reading buddy or providing step-by-step instruction. So I feel like it's effective if we try to pair her with a pair with a buddy because then they can share informations and they might learn from each other. And also, I can provide step-by-step instruction. The checklist allows me to systematically track my students' progress, identify areas needing support, and adjust my teaching strategies to ensure she is fully included and supported in the classroom. So that is our role as one of our role as a teacher, no, to make sure that our students feel that they are included and supported in the classroom. So next, let's move forward to the characteristic of anecdotal records. So a brief factual accounts of observations made during natural classroom situations or activities. So an anecdotal record is just a brief records of observation. So the information recorded is descriptive and qualitative, focusing on what is seen or heard. So this means that it focuses on what we seen or heard rather than personal opinions or judgments or our criticism. So number 3 used to document specific behaviors, skills, or how individuals respond to particular situations or events. So, anecdotal records are usually or commonly used to document specific behavior, skills, or how individuals respond or how individuals react to a particular situations, scenario, or events in their lives. So now let's move forward to portfolio assessment. Portfolio is an organized collection of a student's work that shows their efforts, progress, and achievements. Portfolio assessment is an evaluation method in which teachers assess a student's learning, skills, and development by reviewing the work collected in the student's portfolio over a period of time. So these are the tasks, assignments, and learning experiences where outcomes are collected in a student's portfolio to show progress, efforts, and achievement over time. So I remember during my grade 12 journey, I have a work immersion and then we are tasked to make a portfolio. So we are going to make the portfolio and provide photos and narrative into that portfolio. And after the end of our immersion, we are going to pass our portfolio. So actually, these activities are designed to reflect learning objectives and accommodate the diverse needs of students in an inclusive classroom. Example of portfolio activities include writing assignments, worksheets, drawings, project, quizzes, photographs, or practical work, self-reflection, group work, outputs, and teacher feedback. In inclusive education, portfolio activities allow students to demonstrate learning. So let's move forward to purpose of portfolio. First is a growth portfolio to show a student's growth or progress, to help develop process skills, to identify individual strengths and areas for improvement, to track the development of one or more skills, products, or performances. So I like what I said earlier, this portfolio is going to show the growth or the progress of the student and also to identify which part needs to be or which areas needs to be assessed or needs to be addressed and so that it will be supported and to make the areas improve or to certain areas. Next is showcase portfolios to present end of year achievements. Like what I said during my grade 12 journey, we're given a task to make a portfolio, an end year portfolio that conceals our journey as a humanities and social sciences student, including most importantly our immersion journey. So, to prepare a collection of best work for employment and college admission, to highlight students' perceptions of their favorite best or most important work, to communicate a student's current abilities and achievements to future teachers. So next is evaluating portfolios to document students' achievements for grading purposes. These are kinds of portfolios that the teacher are going to check and provide scores for grading purposes. To record progress as well, same with other portfolios, to meet a learning standard, to provide evidence of evaluating students' performance and instructional effectiveness. So everyone, that concludes my report. Thank you so much for listening and I am hoping that you really learn a lot from my report. Before I end this discussion, I want you to remember that assessment should be for learning, not just of learning. It must guide instruction to meet the diverse needs of all the students. Thank you and see you for my next discussion. Bye bye.